Good morning, everyone. This is Evie here, and I am going to show you some of my decks that are on my deck table. What I mean by deck table, I usually have a bad habit of dragging all the tarot decks that I work with. Excuse me, my hair in the morning, too. The decks that I work with downstairs in my coffee table, basically. And I do it that way because I'm always down here with the kids. If I want to just grab a deck, what is on my deck table? So, without further ado, I'll show you some decks since the kids are still asleep, and I have some time to show you some of the decks that are here on my coffee table, just kind of laying around, and it will be a lot of decks, so you might be interested in why I'm choosing some of these decks. As you know, I do have decks set aside to work with the season right now, the Halloween season or the fall season. And I do have a lot of those decks down here too. And they just will migrate their way down here to this coffee table as I really get working in the months and stuff like that. I'll put some other decks back up and these decks down, keep these decks down. So, no further ado, let me just go ahead and jump right into which decks I have. First one might not surprise any of you, or might surprise some of you, is the Playing Marseille by Ryan Edwards. I've gotten this relatively recently, maybe not so recently anymore, but I have received this deck relatively recently in the fall season. And this is such a beautiful deck. Every time I post something on Instagram with this deck in it, with the cards, the images, every single post, just everything that I do with this deck on social media, somebody says, "Where did you get this deck?" And I have to politely smile and say, "This is a $200 deck." And I think it's sold out. It was a limited edition $200 deck. It's just not gonna just be readily accessible for many people. But anyways, it is still such a beautiful deck, and it's so quirky, and it's so funny, and I just absolutely am in love with watercolor. It's a hand-painted deck too, and that's part of the reason why it's not readily accessible, and it's $200 deck. And it comes in a very beautiful handmade box saying Playing Marseille, and mine is number 65, and it is something I keep here on my table constantly, and I just love it. I love the playing cards. I just love the tarot-ness of it. It's just the perfect deck. Perfect deck. Okay, and this one might not surprise many of you that just kind of wandered its way to the table is my Terra Prague. And this one is my trimmed edition because of tarot accidents that has happened in the past, and this deck has been loved and destroyed for time and time again. And this is one of my go-to decks when I want to read with the writer Wit Smith. And I think it's just a stunning deck. I love this deck. There's nothing about this deck that I don't love. And it's one of my forever decks. If you want to go into the top 5 soul decks, this is definitely one of my top 5 soul decks of all time. And I wouldn't have bought into the first edition of the Terra Prague, which I got for a steal too. You just have to wait for the right deal to come by, and you have to ask yourself sometimes, what is that right deal? And then you get it on eBay or some private seller, and it turns out to be worth it. Actually, it becomes real worth it versus no, it's not worth $1,500 for a crazy deck. But it would be any deck be that much And I agree. No deck should be that much. So you just wait for a time, wait for the right seller to come along, and you just snatch it up. And that's the best way advice I have about buying uh, those kind of decks. And I have the first edition upstairs. I love the first edition too. Although the microm is very, very beautiful. I love this deck. And I keep both death cards in this deck, and I think I keep both sun cards in this deck too. But it's one of my favorite decks, and it's been worn, it's been loved, it's been sharpied. I don't re-sharpie it to edge it, and it's also been wine spilled, food spilled, and all that stuff on this deck for Terra Prague. But I do have a backup copy of this particular edition of the Terra Prague upstairs too. It's one of my forever decks. I have a backup copy. And another one that I have also on my table is the Borderless Wit Smith. And I've just been using this as a working horse deck. You know, just something if you just want the Wit Smith, you just grab this one because this one is a very nice one. It's got all those borderless images, and I do believe that still believe that this might be all of the extra borderless parts of this deck are Pixie's original drawings, and they just kind of expanded the border on it, and I think it makes a difference in such a beautiful way. However, my go-to Wit Smith deck for me is the 8 Terra of AE weight, and that is upstairs. And I just really love this edition of the Wit Smith. It's very, very nice, and I love this just to gaze into it. And that is one of my more recent decks too. Another deck that has been new to my deck collection, I think this is one of my newest decks to my deck collection, is the Healing Light Tarot, and it is based on the orbs or something like that. I forgot what the orbs names are, but it has these orbs, and you're supposed to gaze into the center of the orb, and it gives you an extra card meaning or that extra soulfulness to the reading. And I've been meaning to edge my deck, but I haven't decided if I was going to try to find a navy blue or black yet. But I didn't actually know if I wanted just to keep it not borderless, but edgeless, because sometimes edgings can get on the front of the images, and this deck I think is just too stunning not to have the edging to get onto the front. So this is such a beautiful deck. I believe this is one of the more prettier decks out there, but that's one to its own as far as opinions go. But I love this deck as far as Rider Waite. It's a Rider Waite deck, and I feel like if you wanted to read for, especially for male clientele or masculine clientele, that this deck would definitely resonate with someone who is a lot, it's not a feminine, friffy deck, I think. I think this has a masculine element that I think is just absolutely beautiful. And I just really love the colors that he chose, and I love the orbs. I really, really love everything about this deck. It's a really good go-to Wit Smith deck, and I just am starting to love it more and more every single day. That's a beautiful hermit. Look at that. That is just so beautiful. I just love this deck because the energy kind of flows right through. There's some decks that I've talked about this on my channel a few times, is that you could just look at the images and just know that it was made with intention. And I believe that with the Darkness of Light tarot that, yes, there are some other tarot decks that look similar to that particular deck, but there is a made with intention, or an energy about it that was made with intention about it, and it really shines through. The art shines through, and the love that's been put into the deck shine through for sure. Whereas I feel like some decks don't have that, but there are others that really shine through, like that love, that soulful love of painting the images, or putting the images on that paper or digital media, and this is a digital media, a deck, and it just shines through. And that deck is upstairs, so it's not on this quick flip through right now. And I also have the Art of Life tarot, and it just kind of just props itself on my reading table, just like so. And I do daily draws with this, and I just keep it up here because I think the images are all classical art, and some of my family members are not tarot readers, and when they come on by, and they just casually come on by or anything like that, I feel like this is a very appropriate deck just to have sitting out here on your reading tables, or just anywhere publicly. And it's just a wonderful deck. I'm not going to flip through it because of length of the video and things of that nature. It's already starting. I'm getting past my time, and I have the babies upstairs that are going to wake up real soon. I'll talk about this one real quick, and this one is the Mildred Payne deck, the Secret Pocket Oracle. I haven't really used it hard yet, and this one is Patrick Fluenza's new piece of little art that he put on paper, and I just am in love with his Pocket Oracle because of its powerful readings. It does have a lot of powerful readings, and I read it very much like a Lenormand deck, and you kind of scry with the cards more than I do actually read it as a oracle. Or a tarot. I'm not saying that you don't scry with the tarot or an oracle deck, but I kind of use these cards to scry and what the images mean to me. I deliberately not read the guidebook for this deck, so I could have my own interpretations bestowed upon the cards. And I just think it's a very powerful deck because of that, and I really love it. And I just wanted to do a simple flip through. I haven't really decided to edge this either, and I haven't really had time to really dive in deep with this deck. So it's going to be something that's going to stay on my table for the rest of the season, probably. Another one that I've done a photo shoot with, actually, on the Monticello, and I'm going to be posting a video of my Monticello experience soon, sometime today, I think, is the Oracle of Oddities. And I'm probably going to narrate it, my experience. I haven't decided yet, but the Oracle of Oddities is the best oracle, one of my favorite oracle decks of all time. It has to be. And it's still at that card that I was doing photo shoots with, and that one too. I was doing photo shoots with that one, and it's just a simple deck, but I feel like it has some really good balance between light and shadow, and I just really love the images, and what's not to like? I really love this deck. I love the chakras, and I actually read the chakra cards as its own, and I just am in love with this deck. And I actually am loving this deck more than I thought I would, and which is really good because I'm sick and tired of buying into oracle decks that I like, I just buying this on a whim. And I do that quite often. I don't usually read with oracle decks, but this oracle deck is soul candy for me. I've just been loving this deck. I've been posting it on my Patreon page. I've been posting it on Instagram. I've been posting it everywhere that I can. And I just love doing this readings with this deck. It's definitely going to be one of my forever decks. And it's going to definitely remain one of my forever Oracle decks of all time. Or top Oracle decks of all time. And I just feel like it's simple, not a lot of Oracle cards, but what simplicity does have, I think it has a very strong beauty. And I think it also, when you're talking about art made with love, this art was definitely made with lots of love. I just love it. It is so clever and it's so wonderful. I'm probably going to have to buy the, what is it, the Anatomy or Tarot once it comes out again. Or if it will come out again. I don't know yet. Nobody knows. Something else I have been picked up recently is the Alice Tarot. And, oh my God, I am battling my soul. I am battling my pocketbook, my soul, my psyche. I am at spiritual warfare not to get the guidebook for this deck. I really would love the guidebook to this deck. If I could talk to some people or score one off of somewhere, that would be wonderful. So I don't have to go to Baba Studios, but I might have to buy the guidebook at Baba Studios. They still have guidebooks. I love Alice in Wonderland, and I didn't buy this before because of the price. I still ended up paying the same price that it Baba Studios was selling it last year, so it was not like I lost anything. So, and the backs are so clever. And I keep both Lovers cards in here too. And I'm not going to trim the borders of this deck because there's a lot of beautiful art that just leaks out to the borders. And I just really love this deck. It's really smart. It's an Alice in Wonderland deck, and it has really smart scenarios. I really love it. Really love it. And I love it that it's like walking through Wonderland, too. It's just wonderful. Wonderful. And I'm still battling myself not to get the guidebook, and I know somebody's going to comment down below, you're really going to have to get the guidebook because that's a wonderful deck with the guidebook. I know it will be, and I know it will be even better with the guidebook, but I'm resistant. And this is another deck that's just been kind of tossing around or knocking around, is the Hidden Waters Tarot. Just still kind of knocking around on my tarot, my tarot space, my tarot, everything. And this is not available anymore. I should say that too. This one is not available anymore, and the Alice Tarot is not available anymore. I had to buy it through a third-party seller. And this is the card back. So this is the second edition, I believe, of the Hidden Waters Tarot. And I love this deck. I feel like you could dive in deep. It's like scrying with the tarot. And that's the one thing I do love about this deck. You're actually able to scry with the cards and scry with the tarot. Kind of like the Mildred Oracle is that way. And it's just so beautiful. I love the chakra colors. I love the use of color in this deck, and it's just such an arty deck, and I think it's so clever. It's another clever deck, and I just love it as a pip deck too. I am such a pip deck kind of person now, and it's perfect. I love it. It's an art deck. I love art decks. I am making an art deck, and it's just a wonderful deck. Okay, and this one is something that I've been working with too, but I'm going to warn those who are not into sexual imagery that this is a sexual deck and viewers' discretion is advised. And I did edge this deck in black, I was able to edge this deck in black because it had black on the back and black on the front. So it's a deck that I was able to, edge real easily. And I love the feminine cheekiness of it. And actually, I really love these astrological symbols down here. I don't know if I kept the guidebook down here or not, but it actually adds to the reading, I feel like, for this deck. And some of the images are, it's a very sexualized deck, but I really enjoy the images, even though some of them kind of look like this, where it's a little bit more forceful. Some of them can be a little bit more rape-like or bondage-like, because you can see the man carrying her with her exposed with the whip marks and stuff on her behind. But I still love this deck, and he's just so damn funny. I just think this Knight of Cups is just the best. I don't know. There's something about this deck. I would not read this for just anybody. This probably might end up being a personal deck, but I really do. There's something about it, this deck. It's just something about Mary. There's just something about Mary that I don't know. She's pretty. She's funny. Everybody wants her. And this one is a little bit hard. This one is a little bit more rapey. And then you get images like that, or you get kind of creepy images like that. I just think this deck has a little bit of everything, and it has something to offer. And that's one thing I do like about these kind of sexually perverted decks, that sometimes they do have something to offer. They do have something else to offer that is not really apparent first off, but it's just something that it just kind of irks something in the part of your soul. And sometimes you need a soul tugging deck, and I feel like once you really work with this deck, regardless of the imagery and the sexual content, it has something to offer, and it has some oh, I love this death. I love this death card. I pulled it the other day and I'm like, oh, I got death again, but I love this card. Just dancing with death. I love it. And I think the artist is a comic book artist, from what I was able to do my research. I actually did some research on this deck artist, and he was a comic book artist. I'm like looking at this like, oh, I shouldn't show you that. Oh, I'll show you that anyways. And the tower card. I'm just gonna stop flipping through. This deck is a little bit dirty, and I'll make its own walkthrough and make my comments as I go, and make my Wit Smith comments as I go. I might have a walkthrough with a Wit Smith side by side. I don't know yet, because it's a hard deck to envision you could even read with it at all. And I find that sometimes when you're walking with the Wit Smith images side by side, it actually, you could see the Rider-Waite-ness or the tarot-ness of the images. And an Oracle of Echoes is another deck that I still have on my space. And I just love this deck. It's so beautiful. It's beautiful. I think it has, she even asked the tarot community or the community, what cards did you want to see in the deck? And I thought that was so awesome that she did, because it could be read by itself like its own tarot system or its own system, because of all of its intricacy and details. And I just love it. She is such a good artist and clever artist, and she's such a hardworking artist too. If I could be half as good of an artist as she is, which I know somebody's going to say, you are that good of an artist as she is, I still think I would be very humble. I would be very, very humble. Man, she has the most beautiful eye wrinkles. She just makes, uh, just her as an artist, so bold, warning, so beautiful. I just love this deck. And this is just the best deck ever. And I love the 3 card readings with this deck. And if I feel daring, I probably will try my hand at making a Romany spread for this deck, and have a my own reading with that. And last one I'm going to show you for today is the Nicoletta Jarrow. And I've been talking about this a lot in my live chats, but this is on the table, so it deserves a recap or something that I've just a recap, I should say. I know I talk about this deck quite a bit this month, or this past 2 months probably, and I'm kind of being a little losing my time and space. But I've been talking a lot about this deck, and I've been talking quite a bit about this deck over the past 2 months. But this has just been something out on my table. I've been reading with it. I've been looking through the cards. I've been looking through the images, and it's just something I've been working with. And I think that this is definitely one of those decks that talks about the inner child work, or that inner healing work. And I have a lot of inner child healing work that needs to be done. And I find that this is just a nice deck. I love this. I love this deck. Love this deck. Love this deck. I hear one of my kids screaming upstairs, so I might have to get going. But I just thought this deck is the best. I have several videos, live chat videos of my relationship with this deck, and I'm not going to describe them all here because of my kids waking up. But if you feel daring, you can try to hunt through my live chat videos while I try to make a deck review, or a deck review of this deck. And I'm going to have to try to include all my notes and my thoughts and feelings of this deck in that deck review. And I might even make it its own video like all about Nicoletta Jarrow. Who knows? All these things are subject for ideas and things like that. So that's my tarot collection of, not tarot collection, but that's my stuff that's on my table as of right now. And be sure to check out the Patreon page. It's brand new, and it's being updated daily, and I'm trying to make it better, some of the reward options better than just something that somebody's gonna go meh kind of thing. So be sure that you check into those updates as they happen. And I'm still working out the bugs on my Patreon page and things like that. But check it out if you want to. Feel free. I love you all. Bye.